Hi guys, my name is Sydney Zuiker. I'm the Safe Community Program Manager here at Crime Stoppers of Houston, and I want to welcome you back for another cyber safety conversation in partnership with T-Mobile. Today we're going to talk about video game safety, and specifically what video gaming has looked like in the first half of 2020. 2020 has been a year unlike any other year. That is why I'm filming in a different location than I normally am, trying to stay safe, keep our community safe. That is our goal at Crime Stoppers. So let's dig in. I think something that's really interesting about gaming that has come out in a lot of reports is the breakdown of who games. First of all, 52% of video gamers are male and 48% are female. I don't know if that surprises you or not, but to me and to the community members and parents that I talk to on a regular basis, that is very interesting. I think we tend to think of gaming as a male-dominated form of entertainment, but what's really interesting is that with the rise of the kinds of games that we have now that are more multiplayer and are easier to control and have a wider variety than just games that you go and you try to shoot things or people, I think that has drawn a lot of different kinds of gamers to this form of entertainment. Now, specifically in 2020, this form of entertainment has absolutely exploded because there's not a lot of other kinds of entertainment going on during the pandemic. In the first quarter of 2020 alone, US video game sales have gone up 9% and has led to a 35% growth in the overall video game industry. 35% growth in the first quarter of 2020. That's wild. I think that it's really interesting to know that and to think about who's gaming, who are my kids gaming with, what is happening while they're gaming, and how is this affecting them long term. Now, let's look at the age ranges of gaming. About 21% of gamers are under the age 18. So while you're thinking, oh, so like maybe students aren't gaming as much as I thought, what I'm thinking is, hey, there's over 2 billion gamers in the world. And so if 21% are under age 18, that still means that there's a lot of students gaming. And to me, what that shows is that, hey, if my student is gaming online, it's quite likely that they will be gaming with a full-blown adult. So I think that gaming is an interesting topic because in most other platforms, whether that's social media or any kind of online interaction, we typically say, hey, don't interact with strangers. We always encourage, hey, don't allow strangers to follow you on social media. Don't direct message with strangers. But in online gaming, often that is the purpose. And so we've gone from, hey, don't talk to strangers to, hey, just be sort of careful while you're interacting with strangers. I think what's really important to remember is what kinds of things are okay to discuss while gaming. What we always tell students is, hey, you should never be talking about any personal information while you're gaming. You should never be talking about things as simple as, do you have siblings, or who do you live with? Where do you stay? Those are all common questions we see from online predators, and they're tricky ones. I also think something that's interesting about gaming is what happens to a student's brain while they're gaming. Oftentimes there is a decreased amount of blood flow that occurs in the front part of your brain while you're gaming. And what that causes is a hyper focus on what you're doing. So the gaming that's occurring, but it takes away your ability to process what someone's saying to you and realize, hey, I should respond to that or I should not. So predators really know that, and they utilize that to gain a lot of personal information from students while they're gaming without that student being aware that they just told that online predator who they are, where they live, who they live with, what school they go to. And I think that is where there's a lot of danger that comes into play. My encouragement for gaming is that, especially right now, it can be a form of entertainment. It can be a form of socialization. It can be used to interact with people right now, but anytime. And so in my mind, it's not necessarily all bad. It just needs some parameters, some strict boundaries, what you can and can't talk about, online, who you can and can't game with. And it's important to remember that just because you can hear someone, just because your student can hear someone, and you think, hey, that voice sounds like a child, or hey, that voice sounds like someone my age, that doesn't necessarily ring true. There are all kinds of voice changing devices that can make your voice sound way older or way younger, or sound like a different gender. And that can be tricky when you're gaming with someone and you can hear them, which adds another layer of familiar, I don't know, an added layer of you feeling like, hey, you might know who this person is because you're talking to them, you can hear them, you're interacting with them on this game, but you might not necessarily know who that person is or how old they are. They could be someone who's just claiming to be a fellow student. So what you're allowed to talk about when you're gaming, who you're allowed to game with, what kinds of games you're allowed to play. The average tween or teen plays M-rated games, M for mature, and usually those games are for people who are supposed to be, they're made for people who are 17 and older. They have really strong language, dark themes, even sometimes pornographic content. So having these open and honest dialogues with your student is so important about what that game even is. You can also go to twitch.tv, which is a streaming platform. It's where people go and they film themselves playing games in real time and can interact with people who are watching their game, which seems like a strange place for me to send you as a concerned parent, but you can go to twitch.tv and see how a game is played. So you can type in Fortnite and watch someone play Fortnite and then decide for yourself, hey, I think that this game is an okay game for my student to play, or not so much at this time. What I want to leave you with is some monitoring tools. I think that monitoring tools can be a really good aid in monitoring and kind of overseeing what your student is doing, especially when it comes to gaming. But I want to make sure that they are never, or I want to encourage you to not use them as a replacement for ongoing, active, and honest dialogue with your student. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, all have really good family monitoring tools. So Xbox version of this is called Xbox Family, and PlayStation's version of this is called Family Management, and they both essentially do the same thing. You can go on and kind of be, you can create your own account, and then from your account, you can link your students' accounts with your account and control who they're allowed to chat with in-game, who they're allowed to chat with out of game, who they're allowed to friend outside of the game, who they're allowed to play with, all of this kind of stuff. I really encourage you to utilize those super helpful tools that have come about over the past couple years. Anyway, I hope that this is helpful to you and your family while you're gaming. Bye, guys.